Thanks to my buddy Full Colon Joshua from Texas for this knife. I use it on a daily basis. Whoops, sorry about that. Turn my. There. I use this knife on a daily basis. And I love knives. I also have this one I carry with me all the time. This thing right here. This is not a knife you would use to open your Amazon packages. This is a knife you would use to open up a hostile, trespassing interloper. It's got the nice little ring there. You can grab it and it goes. Your finger, you can use it to all that. But in order to use, what's going on here? In order to use a knife, you have to train with a knife. That's what martial arts is about, is training. So in order to be able to use it, you've got to train with it. Otherwise, if you use a weapon in a fight, there's a good chance it'll probably get taken away from you by someone who doesn't know how to fight. So it's always good to know and have that type of knowledge just in case. Sort of like correct sentence structure. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's good to stay sharp on it. I use it every day. Been doing so for the last 5+ years. Yep. But again, it's a personal choice. A lot of people, the majority of people, aren't really interested in really learning it. Once they find out what learning it actually entails, they'd rather just have someone do it for them. But what they don't understand is they can't afford to pay someone to do it for them. I don't know anybody who could afford something like that. Seriously. That's why it's always best just to learn it. Learn it for yourself. That's what I say. Learn it for yourself. For example, in the last video premiere I did, which was actually a couple minutes ago, there was an individual, don't know whether they were male or female, they just had the YouTube username me, I think what it was. They asked me, what is the syntax of the word obligation? And I responded, I don't really, I'm not clear on what you mean. What is the syntax of the word obligation? Because to me, that sounds like someone who doesn't really have any practical knowledge of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. Because individuals like that, especially if they have listened to anything that Mark lowercase k Kishon Christopher has put out, they think that syntaxing is synonymous with parsing, which it is not. It most certainly is not. There are two different things. But a lot of people confuse the two. And I, made a pretty good guess that that's what they were doing. And that's exactly what they were doing. So I answered the question as they asked it, what is the syntax of obligation? I said, well, if the word obligation is by itself on a piece of paper, that's a pronoun. And then they go on to say that the letters OBI or OBLI mean no, and TION mean contract. And they asked me if that was right, and I said not quite, because you're talking about parse. You're not talking about syntax. You're talking about parse. And any vowel in front of a consonant at the beginning of a word means no. And then if you look it up in an etymology dictionary and go to the earliest nativity root meaning of the word, you'll follow the continuance of the evidence from obligation to obligate to oblige. And then you'll find that there's two particles there. Proto-Indo-European, of course, the vowel in front of a consonant means no. And oblige means to bind. And an Iowan means contract. So oblige means no binding contract. It's all, stuff that people can get answers to themselves if they know, first of all, take the time to look it up, and second of all, know how to look it up. And then I offered the individual, they can check out the hundreds of other videos on my YouTube channel for further clarification, or contact me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com to apply for classes. And they said, no, thank you. And this is, typical of the majority of people that come onto this channel. They, for whatever reason, aren't prepared to make the commitment to take classes, to actually learn this stuff, to actually be able to use it and be successful with it. So my prediction is they will remain where they are with their knowledge level. They'll be in this same place next year and the year after that. And that's the majority of people that watch this channel. And it's a choice. Contract is by consent. Until such time as something perhaps would happen to them, which of course I hope it doesn't. Everyone, however, does run into these situations from time to time where the fiction system will trespass and they'll get caught up in some sort of fiction court case. And then suddenly they contact me and be like, Jason, can you help me? Can you syntax this document? Can you take this case on for me? Can you write a quo rental for me? Blah, 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 blah. Now suddenly they want my help. And there's really nothing I can do for them unless they can pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars like they would to an attorney for me to come onto their case and take authority over it, take jurisdiction over it, which no one can really do that. How is that even feasible for a normal person? And the alternative to that is to just bite the bullet and learn the grammar so that you can take care of it yourself. As I said, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But that's a lesson that I guess they have to learn for themselves. Making frames for beehives. Let me see if there's any comments in here. I highly doubt there are. Aloha. River Flow. Hello, River Flow. Would you be so kind as and considerate as to share your correct name for maintenance of Rule 1, Rule Equal, so I know who you are and who I'm speaking to? I'd appreciate that and would be honored with you sharing that knowledge with me. If not, that's cool. It's your choice. But it's always cool to know, it's a feeling of ease when people participate with Rule 1, Rule Equal and are transparent and use their correct names. And whether you do share your correct name or not, if you have any grammar questions, feel free to ask them. That's why I'm here today. To answer some grammar questions while I'm doing this. You know me, we have had a video consultation. Well, River Flow, I've had literally thousands of video consultations, so no, I don't know you. If you just share your correct name, then I perhaps will remember who you are, but I don't know you as River Flow. It does sound familiar, but I don't know what your correct name is. But that's cool. If you don't want to share it, that's up to you. It's completely up to you. Their contract is by consent, and if you choose not to share a correct name, I'm cool with that. What is going on here? My chat disappeared. Live chat, super chat, top chat. I don't know. I don't see any chat. Sorry, folks. I don't know what's going on. I don't see any comments. I don't see any chat, so I don't know if Riverflow answered me or not. So apologies. That's an interesting topic. I know that when I first got on the internet and things like that, I didn't use my correct name. I usually used a made-up name. I would think up, what I thought was a cool nom de guerre and use that. And what's weird about it is when people use those, you find a lot of times that they will behave differently than if they were using their correct name. Like there's some kind of psychological factor that you feel like perhaps, and I felt this way at times too, years and years and years ago when I was using nom de guerres on the internet, where you can behave a certain way that you wouldn't normally behave if people knew who you were. Like the way people treat other people in comment sections and stuff like that, how they argue and name call them or condescending and just outright nasty. They would never do that if they were face to face with someone, on a street somewhere. They would never behave that way. But for whatever reason, the internet has given people, that type of psychological conditioned state where they use a nom de guerre, nobody knows who they are, and so they can say whatever they want, behave in a less than honorable fashion, a way that they wouldn't normally behave if someone knew who they were. So that's why I ask that people share their correct name, even if they're using a nom de guerre, to see what they will do. To see if they are with the commitment of maintaining Rule 1, Rule Equal. I mean, maybe some people are like, I don't know, clandestine spies, on secret missions and things like that, and they can't divulge their identity or else, their family will be put in danger because mercenaries or assassins are after them or something. And they can't, I don't know, maybe there's some kind of situation like that, But other than that, some people just, I guess, like their privacy. A message and have no comments anywhere in the domain. Yeah, Riverflow, you may do that, but everything we're doing here is being logged in a cloud somewhere. So even if you are deleting your comments or your chats, they're still being held somewhere. I mean, not by me. I'm not doing it, but because people are going to do what they're going to do. Like I have a couple friends who are tech friends, and they turn on like vanishing messages on Instagram, and like on Signal they'll turn on messages that expire, or Gmail, same thing. You can send like a supposedly secure message and things like that, but that doesn't really make any difference, because once you put something out there on the internet, it really is no longer yours. Someone else takes it and logs it somewhere and holds it. And it can be traced back to you. It can be traced back to actually who you are. Whoever Riverflow actually is, it can be traced back to you, your IP address, which is connected to whatever device you're using, which can be connected to, for most people, can be connected to like credit cards, banking information, addresses, all that stuff. So long story short, I don't give two shits about any of that. I don't participate with any type of vanishing messages or anything like that. The only time I will delete or edit a message is if the grammar is incorrect and I stop and correct. But other than that, I am here for anybody who wants to see it. I have nothing to hide. My correct name's there, my face is there. If someone wants to come up and confront me on the street because they know who I am from the internet, they're more than welcome to do so. I'm always ready for anything. Doesn't matter to me. Come on, pull up. Now, I do have my limits though. Like David Wynn Miller used to put his address and his cell phone number on his website. I don't go that far, all right, because I do have a private life, a confidential life, and a family, and I don't want people to be able to just come up to my doorstep or be calling my phone, because I know that just even through my email address, how much harassment I've got, especially from Russell J. Gould's followers. Just the amount of harassment is phenomenal. There are a lot of malicious people out there, especially from his sector. So there are precautions that I take, but I definitely don't hide my name or my face. Not is hidden. I don't know what not is hidden means. Other than not is hidden is adverb adjective pronoun. Not being non-tangible contract adverb, is being tangible contract adjective, and hidden is tangible contract pronoun. Adverb adjective pronoun. Not is hidden. There's your grammar lesson for today. Free of charge. My gift to you. If you like that grammar lesson, you can get 100 more grammar lessons similar to that for the low, low price of $9,999.99 in 4 easy installments over the next coming year. Contact me at my email address for more info. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, completely kidding. Nothing hides. Nothing hides is adverb, dangling participle verb. Because nothing is non-tangible contract. Because it's literally no thing. And then hides is tangible contract. And as we know, verbs can be either tangible contract or non-tangible contract. How then do you positive say nothing is hidden? Well, you wouldn't really say something like that. You would articulate something to the effect that you're being 100% upfront with whatever you're conveying. Like if you were going like the old one, why would I say what, if I say, hey, you go river flows, could you get down to the store for me and pick up a few things? Would I give you a list of all the things I don't want, or would I give you a list of all the things I want? You were saying to me about tracing my IP address. Yeah. Like I am not hidden. Oh, you're losing me there, River Flow. You're losing me. I'm not following what you're saying there. Are you saying that your IP address is hidden? Or are you saying that it's not hidden? I never said, I didn't think I said that your IP address was hidden. I said that you don't use your correct name. And it's your choice not to use your correct name. I just asked, because you know my correct name, I just asked the same consideration of you, that's all. But if you don't want to participate with that consideration, that is completely up to you. And that's cool. That's the beauty of the internet. And also the beauty of contract. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Nothing is hidden. Wow. It's almost like I don't know how old you are, River Flows. But back in my day, my introduction to music in the 1970s was I got a little record player for my birthday, and I got some 45 RPM records to play on it. And you keep saying nothing is hidden is almost like when one of my little 45 records would get a scratch on it, and they kept like skipping, like it would skip and keep repeating the same section of music over and over again. Yeah, those, I guess they're making a comeback though, vinyl records. The chat disappeared again. Oh, because this River Flows individual keeps deleting them. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. So we just had a friend come over yesterday, my wife and I, and we had 4 beehives, right? All 4 hives made it through the winter, survived the winter, which is amazing, right? They survived the winter. And now, this is what we call swarm season where we are. And so the bees, the hives are getting bigger and bigger, so we had to split some of the hives. So we actually split 3 hives. We split one hive twice, we split another one, and then we split another one. So now, instead of having just 4 hives, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hives. We have 6 hives now. We're going to have to start expanding. Bees are definitely amazing creatures. it's a blessing to be able to work with them. You haven't really lived until you have on a bee suit and you're splitting a hive and you have literally thousands of bees all around you, on you, in your face. And they make such a loud noise, and the energy that they bring, if you're not a steward of your breathing, if you're claustrophobic, it can really make you have, freak out. Like get super anxiety, stress. Like sometimes, my wife will have to walk away because of all the bees and stuff. But I've gotten to the point where I can work and do stuff with the bees. Even in the middle of being stung, I can continue to function. That's how used to being stung I am. It just doesn't really bother me anymore. But it's great training, especially for going into foreign vessels in dry dock. Along with the martial arts training I talk about. You just can't get upset, can't get angry, can't get stressed, can't panic, can't let fear modify your brain. It's like when I used to, when I was younger, in my 20s, early 20s, I joined, well, I'll tell you the whole story. All right, when I was 18, I started taking Shotokan karate. I took 2 years of Shotokan karate, all in all. I think I made it to like a green belt or something like that, or blue belt, green belt, I can't remember. But after like a year of doing that, I met up with some people and I ended up joining a Puerto Rican boxing gym, which basically amounted to some boxing equipment in a basement. And I would go down there and get my butt kicked by these people. And I learned a very valuable lesson. That the minute you get mad and you're in there fighting somebody, the minute you get mad, a knowledgeable fighter, someone that knows how to fight, will totally just knock you out, just dominate you, because you start fighting mad, you start fighting reactionary. But if you maintain your cool and your calm, and you just flow with the scenario, be a steward of your breathing, don't allow your emotions to get the best of you, you can see the punches coming, you can block, avoid them, or roll with them, and you can fire back while you're right there in the midst of the fire. And that's pretty much how correct sentence structure works. But you have to be able to know how to do it, and you have to have closure on it. Just like you have to know how to throw a hook, a cross, an uppercut, an overhand, and know when to throw those things. It's the same thing with the grammar. If you don't have closure on it, it's just not going to magically appear when you need it. That's why you got to use it every day. I remember this one move my coach was trying to teach me this one move he called it the duck walk. And it's basically when you're moving forwards or backwards in a straight line and you're bobbing and weaving, avoiding straight punches. And you do like a couple weaves and then you bob under a left hook or a right cross. And then you either come over the top with a hook or a cross, or you come under with a liver shot left hook. And I could never get it right. And at the time, I think I weighed 165 pounds. I'm about 210, 215 now, but back then I was a lot lighter. I weighed 165, and I was sparring a guy that weighed about 220. and he was about 6'3", and I'm about 6 foot. So he had some reach on me. So every time I tried to do this damn duck walk, he would nail me with a right cross. And I started getting frustrated. Keep in mind, I'm like 20, 21 years old here. And I came in hot, and he just wham, he nailed me, and just blood flew everywhere. He broke my nose. And I saw sparks. I don't know if anybody out there has ever been really clocked good with a punch or a blow to the head. You get those sparks and you get that tunnel vision. I almost went out. And he saw it, and he started coming forward. And then all of a sudden, I tried to do the duck walk. It just kicked in, and he was throwing straight punches. And I actually performed the duck walk correctly. He missed every punch. I ducked under his right hand, and I hit him in the ribs as hard as I could with a left hook. His mouthpiece flew out of his mouth. He slammed against the concrete wall and fell down. Our coach jumped in between us at that point and said, "Hey, we're not trying to kill each other." So there I am, blood all over my shirt because of my nose, can barely breathe. And this guy is on the ground grasping his ribs. Here I cracked his ribs, and he had to go to the hospital. But guess what? Later on that night, we went out to the bar and had a couple beers, and we became really good friends. And we bonded over that moment. He gave me a little something, and I gave him a little something back, and we became really good friends. Anyways, that example is an example of being able to flow in a scenario. That's the other thing. If you think too hard about something and you don't let the knowledge flow, that can also create problems for you. So just like in the martial arts thing and the boxing thing I talk about, if the fiction can get you off your square, if the fiction can get you mad and get you afraid, they know that you're afraid, and they will jump on you like a vulture and prey on that fear, and you'll just crumble like a sack of potatoes, or what? I guess a sack of potatoes doesn't crumble. I don't know what analogy I'm trying to use here. You'll crumble like a cracker. Like if you take one of those saltine crackers and crush it in your hand, that's like what the fiction will do to you if they see that they have you afraid and upset. So it's best to be a steward of your breathing, a steward of your cadence, of your speech. Like when I'm in those scenarios, I will speak in very measured rhythms, like I'm doing now. A little bit of an exaggeration, but it's very close. Because what the fiction system tries to do is it tries to get you to rush, especially in foreign vessels and dry docks known as district courts and things like that. They try to hurry you up. They can take all the time they want, but when it's they give you, like try to give you a turn to speak, they will try to rush you. That's why it's good to be a master of your breathing and a master of your cadence. Because if you're using correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, walking into those venues as a peaceful and neutral position, they cannot control you unless you subordinate yourself to them. It's very tricky. Let's put it that way, what they do. Subtle little ways that they try to gain authority over you or try to get you to consent to them being your authority. But none of this means anything if you don't learn the grammar first. And looking at the comments, or lack thereof, and looking at how many viewers I have, I can pretty much guess. I would bet a troy ounce of gold that no one watching this video right now has 100% closure on correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. I guarantee it that they don't. So when I'm talking about this stuff, I mean, it sounds all well and fine, just like if you watch a video from someone else. Like, the best example I can give is DAVID-WYNN Miller, where he's talking about going into court and doing this, that, and the third. It's a great story, but until you actually do it, it really holds no intrinsic value. Musical Armageddon. The picture is all white and pale. I am learning correct sentence structure, but am still a novice. Very astute observation there. Musical Armageddon, whomever you are. Would you mind sharing your correct name? Musical Armageddon. You know my correct name, as I told Riverflow. You know my correct name. I just asked the same consideration from you. Would you mind sharing your correct name? Of course, it's not a requisite. It's not necessary or mandatory or anything like that. It's your choice. But it's just cool that, if you offer me the same consideration, you know my correct name. I just like to know who I'm talking to. That's all. For rule one, rule equal. And if you are a novice, you're more than welcome to study the almost 600 videos on my YouTube channel, all grammar related, my sum total of my correct sentence structure knowledge. And if you want me to be your guide and tutor, you can contact me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com, and you can apply for a workshop. You can apply for classes. I have a set curriculum that teaches this correct sentence structure. It's just like walking into a college classroom, except you're the only student. I noticed the vowel followed by two consonants in my first message. Well, I mean, musical Armageddon, it doesn't really... We're here using plain English. This is the way we're communicating with honor and grace. So it's not a big deal. If it's your volition to communicate honestly, and if it's your volition to comprehend what I'm saying honestly, then we can use plain English. It's not a big deal. You wouldn't even need a technology like correct sentence structure if people navigated and abided by the principle of the balance of the honor and grace. You could just make contract with using handshakes. But unfortunately, that's not how the world works. Unfortunately, you have people out there that are trying to rip you off. You have people out there that want to hide behind nom de guerres. They don't want to be transparent. They don't want to be upfront. So you don't really know what their volition is. If you get someone who's using their correct name right off the bat, then they're telling you right off the bat, that they're trying to maintain a geometric level playing field of contract. If you're communicating using a nom de guerre, you are not participating with the geometric level playing field of contract, because for rule one, rule equal, you know my name, but I don't know yours. So you are purposely unleveling that geometric level playing field. Again, it's by choice. I'm not saying anything new. I'm just describing to you what's happening in the scenario. When you choose not to use your own correct name, especially in a venue like this. So, Nom de Guerre Musical Armageddon. Do you have any grammar questions? Since you're a novice, you must have some questions, right? Feel free to ask. I was going to call you Mr. Armageddon or Mrs. Armageddon, but I do not know if you are male or female, so I'll refrain from that. My name is Joe. Hi, Joe. Is that your full correct name? Because you know my full correct name, Jason Matthew Glass. Would you mind sharing your full correct name for the balance of the honor and the grace and the maintenance of the rule one, rule equal? That's what I mean by correct name. Like your full correct name. You know mine, I just ask the same consideration of you to see if you're willing to participate with the geometric level playing field of contract. Let's see, we got another comment. Hello, Jason Matthew Glass. Hope all is well. Thank you kindly for sharing. You're welcome. Thanks for participating, and thank you for, looks like you're using a correct name there. Oh, here's a correct name. Joseph Maxwell King. Awesome. Danielle Wehrman. Daniel. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for sharing your correct name. Those that did share it, I really appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot. You show honor to my vessel construct by doing your best to participate with rule one, rule equal. Because not everybody wants to do that. And that tells me a lot about your character as well. So thank you. Much gratitude. Now, to the good stuff. Feel free to ask me any grammar question you want to. Or any question at all, period, if you want to ask a question. I'll do my best to answer it. I got one more frame to do here, and then I'm going to draw this to a close. So if you have a grammar question or any question at all, pop it in the chat, because I'm going to be ending this in a couple minutes. I have a video uploading right now. It's basically a condensation of a Copy and Correct Grammar video I did on the 11th, where I talk about, yet again, why a vowel in front of a consonant at the beginning of a word means no. So you won't want to miss that. I'll be premiering that maybe later on today, or maybe tomorrow, depending. Joseph Maxwell King. I know you said you were a novice, so you must. I have to think you have some grammar question that's on your mind. I'm here for you, man. Feel free to ask it. right, no grammar questions. Interesting. Not surprising, though. Not surprising. Well, I would recommend to those of you watching, I would recommend studying exactly what correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar is. What you may or may not know is that it is made up of 3 components, and those components are contained within the name itself: correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. The first component is correct sentence structure, communication. The second component is parse. The third component is syntax. Those are 3 different things, all coming under the heading and authority of grammar. So correct sentence structure communication is the form of communication that one would use that has a mathematical interface for the facts, of the facts, are, with the facts, of the facts, with the facts, by the facts, period. And then the next component is parse, where you take words and you look at the components, the parts, the particles of the words, and you credential whether those particles are tangible contract or non-tangible contract, whether they are particle of negation or whether they are positive performance. And the third part of quantum grammar is the syntax, which a lot of people get parse and syntax mixed up. Syntax is basically how words or word particles work together to communicate, to make sense. And the best way to describe what syntaxing means in the context of quantum grammar is that when you say, I'm going to syntax a document, it means that you are going to credential whether the words are adverbs, verbs, adjectives, pronouns, past tense, future tense, or conjunctions. And if you're syntaxing a correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar document, then you would be credentialing whether a word is a positional, a loadial, a fact, a verb, or a conjunction. And that's the long and short of it.